Once upon a time, a girl named Felicity and a boy named Peter bought an abandoned farmhouse in New York, and today, November 8th, 2024, we get to see a preview of the painting! So if you've been around on the channel, you know that we're getting ready to paint our house, finally, and we have a couple of preparatory examples of the painting. In this video, we also have some more information about the paint colors that were previously used on the porch, which we had not had before. And then the second half of this video is actually shot on November 10th, a couple days later, and we're going to go inside and take a look at the electrical work that's been happening. And then there was more painting, actual painting, not just preparatory work, but actual painting was done between when the first part of this video was filmed on the 8th and when the last part of it was filmed on the 10th. And that is the final clip in this episode. So let's get started. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so cool. James has given a test run around this window, and look at that. It's green. This is the green we're going to use for the accent on the outside. It's Courtyard from Sherwin-Williams, and I love it. It is beautiful. So imagine this with a white that's got a little bit of cream in it with a violet undertone. That's what it's going to look like in a week or so. So other exciting updates, they are working on getting the compressor unit for the mini split system installed, and those are some impressive bolts, y'all. Take a look at that. Those are quite large, and they've been doing preparatory work on the deck as well. We're going to do the boards in a brown color because the green is going to be a little bit cost prohibitive, so we'll do brown on the base, green accents, and white for most of the house. And you can see they've already made a start. They've been redoing the foundations of the pillars, and they've been putting in some caulking and stuff like that. So this is what one of the deck pillars looks like once it's been scraped, and you can see, this is the best example of it. You can see that it was green before they painted it white. Hard to tell exactly what flavor of green because it's a little bit shaded, but this green is everywhere on the pillars, and it's also underneath the white that was on the ceiling. So at some point they went full on green, which is weird because there's no green on the deck boards. It's just blue. So James says by this time next week we should have a newly painted house, which would be awesome. So I know I keep telling you guys that there's not much to see with the electric, and there really isn't, but today there's something to see. So as we walk around, I haven't been in the house for a few weeks, and there's starting to be cables coming out of the holes, and they're happily labeled. So this is right by the front door. We're looking out on the main road, and they're labeled panel in, outdoor light. And then the most exciting one is yard light. So if you guys will remember, see if I can shoot through the dirty window here, there is this light post out there, and we didn't have any idea if it had wire running to it because none of the switches that we turned on inside seemed to turn it on. And James says that's because the switch was broken. So there's a 50% chance that the fairly modern wire that goes from the house out to that light is actually working, and we might be able to use it as a light, which would be fantastic. I happen to think this looks like octopi tentacles coming out of the wall, but that's just me.
So they've been wiring the different pieces in here in the kitchen as well.
More octopi tentacles.
We have the fridge. We're going to have also a line specifically dedicated for the garbage disposal.
That'll go to this one here.
And then we have an outside light and general power. We're going to bring one possibly down to for these two.
Right.
And then these will be on their own circuit as well.
With the wiring, that'll be covered up in the roof, but you can see that they've been running it through the rafters to get to where it needs to go in different parts of the kitchen. Turns out that kitchens need a lot of electric outlets, which I guess would make sense if you thought about it, but we haven't thought about it. I hadn't thought about it. Peter probably had. I hadn't thought about it. So where is the garbage disposal switch going?
Right next to this one. It'll be right here.
Is it a brand new one?
Yep.
Okay. That makes sense because you with your long arms could actually reach that from the sink. I would have to move over to reach it, but at least it's somewhere close by.
There's no place on the wall.
No, that's okay. I prefer the window. It's the only
Yep.
big window we've got in here. That doesn't bother me.
So if we had the kitchen bubble also now has been
yes
filled in and replaced.
Peter was surprised that I hadn't noticed this. I haven't been in the house, you guys, in several weeks. So at some point in the last several weeks, they have put the plywood back down. This is, if you saw the video, this is there's green and white checkered tile underneath here, and we had a bubble in the floor. So they've put the plywood back down so that you no longer have to watch your step in here, which is lovely. And then I showed you guys in some previous footage that the fridge and stove had been taken out, but I hadn't shown you what they looked inside. So this is the formerly known as fridge space, which, to be honest with you, is a little bit less disgusting than I had imagined, but I'm also not looking too carefully at the floor because I'm imagining that is super disgusting. And then the stove is gone as well. So you can see, and you can see that's the cabinet. We had them take out a cabinet up there to put in the range hood. And so I guess unsurprisingly, they put the cabinetry in on this wall paneling before they put the sheetrock over it with the yellow paint. So unknown if that was done at the same time. The first house my parents bought had paneling like that in several of the rooms, and it's giving me major, like, my mom called that house the hovel, even though it wasn't. It was huge. It's giving me major hovel vibes and major 1970s vibes. But you can see, and when you look along the top here as well, that yellow layer was definitely put in after they did a bunch of other stuff, because that's where they took the roof line off. So I like the yellow. Peter doesn't care for it as a color. I actually like it. So, but Peter will be spending most of the time in here cooking delicious things, so we'll have to figure out at some point a better color scheme. Y'all, painting has started. Can you see? So they've done the upper story here on the south side, and they've done the window facings in green. So let me see if I can get closer here. Sorry about the lighting today. It's not the most amazing lighting. Hopefully you can see that on camera. So yeah, they've done the whole upstairs here. They've actually done most of the upstairs on the whole house, and they've also done quite a lot here. And they have done the first coat on the ceiling of the porch all the way down to this door here, and then they stopped. So painting is underway, which is good because it's raining today and we're getting to be chilly. But look, if you look down here, this is all white as opposed to scraped wood, which is what it was a few days ago when I was last here. So that is super exciting. And they've got a new layer here. It's hard to tell because this phone doesn't zoom back far enough just how much of a difference this makes, but you can see here where the color variations are going on. It's going to need a few more coats, I think, before it's ready to go, but look at the difference. Look at the difference it makes. So that is actually a really good example. So that was the siding before. They've also gone through and replaced the bottoms of the pillars, and some of the deterioration at the bottom was from a previous infestation of carpenter ants. We have not found any sign that they're still here, but James has injected some poisonous stuff in there just in case they decide to come back and start gnawing on them. So yeah, it looks really good. And the best place actually to see this is the west side. So let me take you over there. Isn't this an absolutely wonderfully glorious sight? Look, it's painted. So this is the green that we've chosen as the accent color. It's called Courtyard, and then that is how it's going to look next to the white. I think that's a stunning combination. I want to thank Peter's friend Joellen. She picked out a few green and white combinations for us to review, and this is the one that we chose. But oh my gosh, you guys, it looks so good. It looks so good. Part of me kind of wants to stand here and stare for hours, and the other part of me, it's getting wet and I haven't had breakfast yet. There are a number of things that we're trying to finish before the cold weather comes, and we're running out of time, but I think if they can get the painting done in the next week, the painting is the first thing, and then the mini split so that there's some heat inside, and then we'll be pretty much done with the outside until the spring, basically. So thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye for now.